Hi, everyone. I wanted to share a little bit of my story and my experience with COVID. I know several have asked in regards to the details, and we did a Spanish live video about it. So I just want to do a quick video in English and share with you my story. So it is, if you see in the pictures inside, very drastic pictures right here. They are not my best angle, but during this time, it was not my best time either. So I want to start by telling you that both of the people in our household were both educators. We were quarantined. We took all preventive measures. We we did social distancing even from my family. If you know me personally, you know that my mom is like a 7 times cancer survivor, and that year was very difficult for her and challenging, so I wanted to make sure that she was protected. My dad also has some prior health history issues, so we took all of the necessary precautions. We also have people in our family who are of older age, and what we would consider, based on the information that we've been given through the news and through the internet and through the readings, in regards to people that are considered high risk. So up to this time, I actually wasn't that worried for myself. I was more worried about my partner, and we would even joke around, if anybody would get sick with COVID, it should be me, because I have no health issues or any history that would put me at this high risk group. I am 42 years old, and not super physically fit, but I didn't have any complications. And so anyways, on July 4th, we decided to participate from a family gathering. So mind you, everyone in this group was close family. So we decided to participate in a family gathering due to a family death that we had due to COVID. So this death happened in a different country. So we decided we are going to do a small kind of just a celebration reunion at this family's home. And we played some praise and worship music, and everybody kind of sat with their household. And so there was not that much physical contact that we may say from that gathering. But that was July 4th. On Sunday morning, I started not feeling that well, and that evening I had super high fevers, maybe like 102 or more. My body started aching. I did not lose my sense of smell or my sense of taste, but I had a horrible headache, and just I did not feel well, like nothing I have ever experienced before. Like I said, I'm a person who tries to avoid going to the doctor. I try to avoid taking medication. And if you know part of my story, if you've seen my previous YouTube videos, because of those traumatic experiences that I had with all those 5 abortions in my younger years, well, I really avoid or stay away from going to the hospital. But on Monday, we decided, you know what, we should be responsible. Let's go ahead and go get tested. We were around other people that do not live in our house, and so we're gonna go get tested. I was feeling horrible. I went to the community center. I got tested on the 6th of July. My symptoms continued to worsen. Tuesday, I started experiencing more body aches. I could not sleep well. And then by Wednesday, I started experiencing these lack of oxygen attacks. Like I couldn't breathe. I went into the shower and I had a cough breathing attack. And like in the movies where the person's like trying to rip down the curtain, that's kind of what happened to me. I was just not feeling well. Still, I was waiting for those results. I wanted to make sure that this was COVID, because I knew that once I went to the hospital, my family members were not going to be able to go with me, and I didn't want to be alone in there. I didn't want to worry my parents or worry my partner's family. And so I was avoiding going to the doctor. So my symptoms worsened. So you can tell right here. You can tell in the first picture I'm at home. Second, third day, it's bad. I even slept in the hammock. We brought our hammock from our patio inside our house because I couldn't breathe well. I couldn't sleep well. On Friday, I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go to the doctor. Well, they kind of dragged me to the hospital here in Los Banos. And so they run a couple of tests. I was experiencing that horrible cough and that lack of being able to breathe. He checked my lungs. He didn't see that anything was really wrong with me. The nurse practitioner actually did a COVID test on me again, but did not send it in because he said that the doctor has to approve it. So he left it there on the side. People would come in and check on me. I was there for a couple of hours. I think I was there for 4 hours. So the doctor comes back and he tells me, you know what, Cruz, you're only 42 and your age group, they're survivors. It's only the statistics show that only 1 out of 200 have either fatal or severe symptoms, and you're going to be fine. He closes the door, comes back and tells me again, don't worry, the data from Italy and other countries are saying that your age group is fine. I've sent patients in worse conditions than you home, and you're going to be fine. Now, if you feel bad, you can still come back. So I was upset. I already did not want to be there. I had already spent 4 hours there. And so I get picked up, I go home, and my symptoms worsen, and I'm just trying to make the best out of this, still calling the community center, asking for those results, calling Quest, checking my phone, because I wanted to know if, in fact, I had been infected with COVID, and especially because I had been around our 98-year-old grandmother. And so things got worse. On Saturday, we talked to some friends who had actually contracted COVID weeks before, and they had experienced this similar situation with our Los Banos, or local hospital, and they said they had gone to the Good Samaritan in San Jose and they had received treatment there. And they were sent home with treatment. So my sister drives me to San Jose. I get to the ER. They see my situation. They check my temperature. And so they take me in right away. And I was very lucky that my family convinced me to go at that time, because I think if I had waited another day, things would have been worse. And I might not be able to even share my story with you guys. So after they ran several tests, one of the first ones they do is the COVID test. Within an hour, they come back. That test was positive. I was already isolated from the get-go. So people were very cautious as to how they interacted with me. But my symptoms began to worsen. I fainted during one of those times. I went unconscious, and I was dehydrated. I had to get extra medication. And if you notice on the second row, there's a point where like my lips and my face is kind of going pale. I'm blue. My oxygen level is super low, but luckily with the medication and with the oxygen that they were able to give me, my levels start to normalize. So I was lucky I didn't get the tubing, that messes with your trachea and all that. I got injections on a daily basis on the side of my thighs to avoid having those blood clots. It's one of the side effects, or one of the effects of COVID. Once you contracted, it could affect your circulatory system. It can affect your immune system, and it can affect your respiratory system. And if you are a person with health issues, it could spread and affect other parts of your organs and create greater complications. I was isolated for a week there in ICU, was not able to have any visitors, see my family. When I am finally released and discharged, I honestly just broke down crying and sobbing in the car, because I really didn't think I was going to see daylight and be out of that room. I didn't even know what time, things were. And this, I knew because of the medication, but I couldn't eat. I had insomnia. I lost tons of weight, 20 pounds. That was probably the only good thing. I regained it, as you can tell already. But as I come home, I started noticing that I had bruising because of all the medication and where I got the shots. But I started noticing like that bruising on my stomach. You can see the picture right here. So I get this weird bruising on my tummy, and it's part of the medication. I got steroids, some opiates, and an inhaler, cough medicine, and super strong oxycodone medication to help ease with the pain, because I had chest pain and I was weak. And being at home and trying to recuperate, many of you noticed that I was not on social media. one of the first side effects that I noticed in regards to this whole experience is I lost my fine motor skills. So I'm a person that journals with the devotional daily. I could not hold my pencil correctly or write. I'm barely moving back into, or moving forward, I should say, into writing a little bit better. I lost like cognitive function skills. I would grab my computer because I knew I had tons of work to do. I wanted to post something, social media. I wanted to blog or at least start writing or work on some of my projects. Zero cognitive function. I suffer from anxiety attacks, depression. There were times where my partner would just find me crying in the restroom, just sobbing at night. I couldn't sleep. I would just play worship instrumental music, and it was very, very, very difficult and a challenging time, not only for myself but for my family. Obviously, they couldn't see me, and so about a week after I come back home, I experienced this strong pain in my tummy, and my tummy starts to bloat. I'm at the end of my treatment. I didn't tell you, but during the time that I was there, one of the symptoms that I developed, or one of the consequences of me contracting COVID, was that I got viral pneumonia, which then affected my respiratory, my lungs, and so I had to get a special steroids medication for that. And so after I start feeling this pain, I was mentioning with our other live video that I have a high tolerance to pain. So if you go to a doctor and ask you what's your pain at 1 through 10, and you might say an 8, I would probably say, oh, it's like a 3 or maybe a 4, because I kind of was raised that way. And again, I'm trying to avoid to be in the hospital. But at this point, I can't help it anymore. The pain is super strong. I did not want to go to our local hospital. I didn't want to go to our county hospital because we had obviously experienced the passing of a family member there. And so we decided, okay, you know what, we're going to drive back to San Jose to the Good Samaritan, and they have your case file there, and you know, they should know what is going on. I was also fearing that I might have developed sepsis, because that's one of the side effects that you can develop with COVID. And if you don't know what that is, that's kind of where your body starts releasing toxins into your bloodstream, and then it starts spreading throughout your organs. And I had some of those symptoms already, so they said make sure that you are following up with these symptoms. If you develop this, you need to rush yourself back to the ER, because this is potentially what it could be. So if you don't know, with sepsis, your body temperature drops to under 97 or 97 and below. With COVID, when you're in the initial incubation state, your temperature is going to be like 101, 102, 103. So my temperature was like at 96.8, and it had been consistent. And again, I had this pain. My pain was so strong that it was falling down towards my legs. There was like no position that I could stay, or nothing that I could take that would calm that pain. So we're driving to San Jose. We're about 15, 20 minutes away from Los Banos, and I really, really thought that I was going to die. I was kind of just saying, okay, God, like, this is my day, this is my time, but God, I don't want to, like, this is not the way I want to go. I had taken some strong medication for pain, hoping it would kick in. It had not kicked in. My partner, obviously, was worried. She sped all the way over there. Once we get there, my pain's a little bit more tolerable. They kind of already know me. They looked at my chart because I had been positive with COVID, even though technically I was out of the contagious stage, I guess you would call it. I still had to go through the same procedures. I go into the isolated ER rooms. They run all the tests that they ran the first time, took out 8 of the little tubes of blood, and they checked for bacteria to see if that toxins had gone through my body. They do an EKG, and still, like, none of that stuff showed anything. So they run me tests, and they put me through a CT scan, and turns out I had severe constipation. So that pain that I was experiencing was my digestive system that had been impacted by not only the medication, but the type of food that I was eating. I was not eating that much. If you notice that I lost like 20 pounds, and like I said, I regained them already. So for an entire week, I was on prescribed doctors' laxatives, and again checking my digestive system because I was impacted by that. It's been about 2 to 3 days. I am finally back to normal, as close as I can be, and I'm beginning to recuperate and do a little bit of more exercise, and starting to practice my writing. And during this time that I experienced this traumatic experience, really, I know that there were secondary effects. I know some of that medication affected my mood swings. I had anxiety attacks. I still do to some point. They're not as severe and as frequent, but there were, like I said, I mentioned earlier, there were times where my partner would just find me sobbing. I would just start crying at night. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would get anxious. I would get feel this deep depression. And so this whole experience has brought me to have a better understanding, not only about myself, but understanding about those other individuals who maybe suffer from not the greatest mental health, and how it's something that we don't see, but it's very real and people experience it. And so I would like to share that in a different time. But I just want to remind you that this thing is real. I was one of those individuals that even thought maybe this is all a conspiracy before COVID hit the door of my own home and my own body. There's even times that I would say, like, well, if people are getting sick at this time, if people are getting COVID at this time, we probably shouldn't even treat them now, because, like, come on, we're all taking precautions, but one exposure is enough. Unfortunately, several of the individuals several family members that got together were also exposed during that time. Again, you can be someone who shows symptoms and someone who doesn't show symptoms and be contagious. And then one of the most important lessons that I learned, even if the media, even if science, even if your own doctors are telling you, oh, well, you're not a high risk individual, it doesn't matter. Like that doctor said, he has seen 75-year-olds walk in with COVID and walk out on that same day. He's also seen 39-year-olds and younger people walk in with this same virus and not make it out. So I just want to encourage you today to take precautions. Living is such a gift, and make sure that you share your story. Make sure that we're doing everything within ourselves to just be better for ourselves, be better for the people within our home, and then be better for our community. And I send you lots of kisses, and thank you so much for hearing my story.